Craftman got some green stuff. And to be honest, I'm slightly nervous for two reasons. Number one, I've never used green stuff. This is my first time. All right, so a blue and a yellow. Hold up, Craftman. You said this was green stuff. Well, just hang with me. I don't want to ruin the surprise just yet. Secondly, I'm nervous because, for this video, I said, let's sculpt a miniature. So basically the way this works is just like a lot of two-part epoxy clays or putties. Y'all know how much Craftman likes epoxy sculpt right there. It's a similar thing, but you wind up with a more flexible, flexible result that can also be sanded and smoothed. But before we just cut and break off and start mixing, because it starts to cure once you mix it, all right, you have a limited time to work with it. Before we do that, let's sketch a few ideas first. And I like to freeze up just for a little bit before I start sketching. All right, there we go. Basically, all I did was I just came up with some different ideas, some elements I could incorporate, into our minifigure. So I'm going to keep this to refer back to, and in the meantime, we need to talk about the size. Now, Craftman has made a miniature cheat sheet right there, but don't worry, you ain't got to use this. See that right there? Your cutting mat is just about that 1 inch. That's just about a miniature. And then on the top edge, you about to pad it with like a 1/10, from the bottom of the feet to either the top of the head or the eyes. It depends on, it's some variation, but I read online you can go from 1.10 inches to 1.40 inches. So I said, let's go for right there in the middle of those two. Don't y'all think so? Craftman is also going to go with the heroic scale. Ooh, here's my man Nick from CC Minis to explain.
What's the difference between heroic and true scale miniatures? Well, true scale miniatures are exactly what they sound like. They're minis sculpted with realistic, lifelike proportions. Heroic scale minis, on the other hand, have exaggerated proportions. Specifically, they tend to be larger in the heads, hands, and weapons. The reason for this is they're designed for tabletop games and are typically meant to be read from a few feet away. When comparing parts of the model side by side, you can really see the difference. I mean, look at those chunky hands. It's easy enough to tell the difference with these human models, but it gets even crazier with things like orcs or space marines.
Thank you, Nick, for that explanation. Let's make us a little armature. If you're interested in getting accurate proportions, one simple trick I use is to find an image online and scale it down until it's about the size of your armature, and then just kind of check it. before we build any clay onto it, I like to go ahead and get my pose, my gesture, get that nailed down before we put, epoxy on it, then try to bend it. Get the pose nailed at the front end. So I want to just pinch some off and mix it, and I know it's not exactly that critical because people mix it in different ratios so you can get more flexibility or less flexibility depending. But since it's Craftsman's first time doing this, we're going to go right down the middle, right down the middle, right down the middle. Well, I never do it that way again, and neither should you, probably. Now, before we mix up our green stuff, I have read that it's good to have you a little bit of water on your fingertips for smoothing it. And now we're going to mix it thoroughly. Eventually we get a sticky but really nice plasticky consistency there. What I'm going to do now is to just set this aside for just maybe 10-15 minutes and then come back to it. Alright, so it's noticeably less sticky after about 10-15 minutes. So now it's just a matter of getting this on our armature, which is intimidating. But it don't need to be. Let's just start putting some green stuff on it. These are a little bit too big for the scale we're working in. Also, I knew I needed something a little more firm than that silicone right there. So I got hold to me some of these firm color shapers right here. See that? And they in a size 0, so that's the smallest ones I got right there. Now we're going to wait and let that cure. Here I have prepared some test pieces that are already cured to give us an idea how the material will handle. It's pretty flexible and also cuts pretty well. And looks like we might be able to wet sand it. All right. All right. Let's take some polystyrene and build us some type of accessory weapon. Now, like I said, it's going to be a little bit chunky size because I'm going with a heroic scale. It's sort of somewhat, but exaggerated. Now that we got an oversized rifle, let's turn our attention to this gentleman right here. I think we need some armor, some shoulder pads, probably need a backpack. Definitely need a helmet, a cool looking helmet. This time I'm going to learn from past transgressions and get just a smaller map so that I don't waste my green stuff. One thing I will say is that I noticed it doesn't deteriorate after a while with too much water. Epoxy sculpt, you can overload it and it starts to kind of get real thin, but this seems to be impervious to water, so it just beads up. Let's set that to the side and work on a little backpack. So craftsman's approach for working flat like this is basically I take me a piece, I'm gonna mush it just a little bit while keeping everything kind of moist and kind of slick, but it will want to stick to your surface, and that's kind of a good thing, because then I'm going to take and come in here and true up my edges, because I'm finding, usually I want to cut, but I find that green stuff has a tendency to collapse. That might be where we can add some milliput or epoxy sculpt and give it a little grain, a little more solid hardness. But for today, I wanted to show you how you can bunch it up and not get disappointed when you go to remove your piece. Because let's just pretend like that's some kind of a design that took us a while to do, and then we go to get it off of there, and it's like, oh, okay, oh, no, that's not, oh. See, what you want to do is get you a flat razor right there and do the shimmer, shuffle. Boom, shakalaka. If I know I'm doing two things like two boots or two gloves, a pair of matching items, I like to go ahead and get my quantities measured out ahead of time. Slightly that might be my OCD, but I would rather, know I'm dealing with the same amounts on both sides. Now we're going to set our miniature to the side and turn our attention to something that's been kind of bothering me right here. I feel like a rifle, the scope on it, it gives it kind of it looks like a big chunky red dot scope, you know what I mean? And so I think if I remove it and maybe come in with something a little finer, it makes it a little more low profile, I think, a little slicker. Hopefully, but yeah. And I'm always looking for spots to just add a little more, details. So let's just try. Oopsie daisy. All right. That's our little figure so far, and I just feel like it ain't quite got that je ne sais quoi, that I don't know what. So I decided to look to 1986 for some inspiration. Maybe it needs a mohawk. Yeah, I think we need a mohawk. Yep. Here's something I want to try, which I learned from Miss Anna right here at Gardens of Hecate. She is actually my main inspiration for even trying green stuff. Thank you, Anna, for inspiring me really to do this video. But I saw that right there where she took some liquid green stuff. So we're gonna take some liquid green stuff and just coat it. See how it looks all shiny? We got some different colors, different little glitches here and there, mistakes we might like to clean up. So let's give it an easy to read, consistent surface. Might as well just put it everywhere. Look, oh yeah, uniformity, baby. You know what I'm talking about. My notebook just had ideas. I had no cohesive direction for this, so I guess we just gonna call it post-apocalyptic. Yeah. Thank you for joining me on another adventure. I do hope this inspired you because look at that. Look at that. Craft man over here like, let's do some crafting today, everybody. Until next time, I love y'all, and please keep on steady crafting. All right. Now I'm going to, hold up. Oh no, reset. I gotta fix the microphone. So now I'm going to try and let's make us a couple of little boots for this gentleman. Oh, that it ain't even got to where it's supposed to be. Oh, let's see. So now I want to make a little couple. Oops. So while that's curing, I thought we could work on a platform, a base. Shoot. So now it's just a matter. I want to do some real chauncey boots, like some big boots, like some Carhartts. But that's the downside to making craft videos. Sometimes I'm looking, because I'm over here, the camera's over here, I'm looking at a view up here, and it's just off in my view, and I don't realize it until after I got the shot. But that's what I like to get over. Okay.